2025 was obviously a year of a ton of incredible video games, so I wanted to jump on here and just chat a little bit about them. I've got more than 10 games, but I've kind of listed them in my top 10 with some honorable mentions in there. So before I talk too much or spend too much time wasting time at the beginning, thank you for checking out this video. Let's get into it right now. Coming in at number 10 was Atomfall. This was a game that was published, I believe, and developed by the same company, Rebellion. And this was an incredible game. It was described a lot as like a British Fallout, which is kind of close, but it's also pretty far off from maybe what you would get in your mind when you think about a Fallout game. This is more like an investigation game, so there isn't any like quest or map trackers or anything that you like follow this golden line to finish the storyline here. Basically, you have to discover everything. You're in this land where there seems to be some sort of nuclear fallout issue that's going on, so that's kind of where people kind of draw some of those comparisons. But basically, you're spending the whole time going through this eerily kind of quiet world with all these funny British people trying to solve a mystery in a number of ways. There's a few different mysteries. There's tons of different ways that you can solve these mysteries. I had a blast with this game. I didn't see it on a lot of lists, but I thought Atomfall was an incredible game from last year that you should definitely check out if you enjoy kind of Fallout style games, maybe with a little bit less hand holding. You have to figure out the direction for yourself, but I beat this one very quickly because I was pretty obsessed with it. Check out Atomfall. Coming in at number 9 for me was Avowed. Now this was the fantasy RPG Skyrim-like game from Obsidian Entertainment. These guys are owned by Xbox now. They make incredible games. They had 3 games that came out last year. Another one's going to be on the list later, but Avowed is this awesome. It's basically a Skyrim clone. It's a little bit smaller. It's much more streamlined in my opinion. They don't waste your time with all this stuff clogging up your inventory. They don't have a ton of systems in there that you have to learn to figure out if you want to enjoy the game. It is very user-friendly, very easy to play, in my opinion. The story is really, really good. The gameplay is awesome. There's tons of combat options for you available. This one did not get as much love as it should have last year either. I think this is an incredible game. If you have Game Pass, it's on there as part of your subscription, so you don't have to buy it separately. But even if you don't, I would highly recommend checking this game out. It's coming to PlayStation later this year with a few more updates, so definitely recommend Avowed. One of my favorite games of last year. Probably should be higher in this list. Alas, it's not, but check out Avowed if you can. Coming in at number 8 for me was South of Midnight. Xbox has just been on a tear here lately, but South of Midnight was a game made by Compulsion Games, I believe is their studio, also owned by Xbox. One of probably the most beautiful games I've ever seen in my life. I mean that. It follows the story of this girl, Hazel, who's like this kind of witch from the New Orleans area, and what happens to her hometown of the course of a stormy night, and what she basically has to do to chase up and save her family. You have these incredible kind of creatures that you can see on screen. You have a really, really awesome storyline that you'll follow along with as well, following Hazel try to basically save her family, uncovering other stories around the way. The music is incredible. Like, the music is one of the highlights of this game, so make sure you're listening, with headphones or a good speaker when you're playing it, but stick with it. The combat is not great. I think the combat is probably the weakest part about this game, but it's still very passable, so I would highly recommend checking out South of Midnight, even just to watch it. I mean, look at what's happening on screen right now. You want to see this game, I'm telling you for sure. It's awesome. And next up was a game that I don't think I saw on anyone's list or anybody talk about other than me basically the entire year, which is very, very sad in my opinion. But it was this game that came out from Bad Guitar Studio, published by NetEase, the same guys who did Marvel Rivals, so they know how these multiplayer games should go. But this one is called Fragpunk. This is genuinely probably my favorite shooter in a year where we had games like Arc Raiders and Battlefield and a new Call of Duty. I had more fun playing Fragpunk this year than any other game. It's pretty much dead now. There's not very many people playing it, but it is kind of like a Valorant, Counter-Strike style shooter that is very playable on consoles. You don't have the run and gun kind of detractors where you have to stand still to shoot your gun with things like Valorant or Counter-Strike. You can be having fun, moving. There are awesome powers. The weapons are really interesting. The gameplay mechanics are cool. And basically you pick these cards at the beginning of every round that really change the gameplay. It's 5 versus 5, competitive. It is awesome. I had a blast. I was also very good at it, which probably lends it to having even more fun, but highly recommend playing Fragpunk. It's a free-to-play game if you just really want a solid shooter with your friends, where you can get into arena like you used to play, but a little bit more accessible, I think, than things like Valorant or Counter-Strike because it's on console. Definitely check out Fragpunk. I had more fun with this game than probably any other shooter in a long time. Next up, number 6 for me was this game called Dispatch. I'm sure most of you have heard about Dispatch because it was the biggest thing in the world for about a week there. It's a game from ex-Telltale studio people, so they're kind of a storytelling game studio with games like The Walking Dead, The Wolves Among Us, Tales from the Borderlands. They're on screen right now. How convenient for me. me. But they make these really, really incredible story games, which I've never been a huge fan of. They're a little slow for me, but Dispatch had enough kind of momentum. It was faster. It was kind of episodic. You're basically just making selections as to what you're going to say, and then you play a little dispatching mini game where you're sending superheroes to the correct location. But the story that unfolds as you go and the different options that you have, and basically they show you what the options were at the end of every chapter as well, how you picked basically differently from anybody else in the world who played the game as well, which is really, really cool to see. Just tells an incredible story. It's got a really great voice cast. Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad is the main guy, and he does an awesome job. This was great. They released it episodically, like 2 episodes every week for like 3 or 4 weeks, I think. They're working on season 2 for it as well. This game was incredible. I think it might only be available on PC. I'm not 100% sure. Made by Ad Hoc Studios, a new studio, but they're working on more games right now with the Critical Role people as well. So definitely check out Dispatch if you did not play it for some reason this year. Number 5 is another very unique game for me. It's not a game that I would usually be playing or spending my time on, but this was a game called Blue Prince. This was developed by Dogu Bomb, I'm pretty sure, and released by a company called Raw Fury. I've never heard of any of their other games, I believe, but Blue Prince is this incredible puzzle story game. You're basically inherited this old building from your grandpa, and every single day that you wake up and go through this building, the rooms have moved. There are different things inside them, and you have to solve dozens of mysteries. There's one like main mystery that you basically want to get to this certain room before the end of the game, but along the way you'll discover a million more things. There's tons of different stories. There's like a whole historical storyline that follows throughout as well. I haven't beaten every single aspect of it. I still have some of the quests I need to finish, and I'm kind of working through it slowly because I did figure out how the main story kind of ended. I got to the end of one of the rooms, but there's still so much more in this game, and basically you're drafting rooms as you go. It's a mind-bending game. It's a little bit difficult. It is not for the faint of heart. There isn't difficulty options. You can't make it easier on yourself, so you really have to learn how these style of games work. But if that's something that sounds interesting to you, definitely give Blue Prince a try. One of the best games of the year for sure. Number 4 for me is a follow-up to one of my favorite games of all time. This one is by Sucker Punch Productions, a Sony team right there. So this was released only on PlayStation, but it was Ghost of Yotei, the follow-up to Ghost of Tsushima from a few years ago. This incredible samurai storyline. This one takes place a few hundred years later from Ghost of Tsushima, so there's not a lot of crossover. You play as Atsu, this awesome chick samurai who basically has lost her family in a really terrible way, and she's now hunting down the people that took her family from her. In this kind of non-linear story, you can really pick how you go about it. It does a good job of kind of telling you the direction you want to go, but you can really jump around and play it at your own pace and figure out tons of stuff. There's so much stuff to do in this game. It's not as strict as the first one, where in the first one you really only had certain options at certain times when they wanted you to have them, but they really wanted you to play to a certain specific kind of samurai playthrough style. And this one is much different than that. You have tons of options available basically the entire game. The story, 10 out of 10. The gameplay, 8 out of 10. It's really wonderful. There are some things that are a little buggy, a little glitchy. Some of the weapons are not nearly as fun as others to play, so you don't really find yourself switching too much. But the storyline of hunting down your family, the accessories that you're getting along the way, you really do just kind of figure out the story on your own. You create your own version of Atsu. You can really pick the accessories, and the clothing that she's wearing and everything is so impressive. Like, this is just one of the most beautiful games that has come out in a long time. So if you enjoy action games, if you like those kind of Assassin's Creed styles, the Ghost of Tsushimas, these open world, action adventure games, this is one of the best ones that's come out in a long time. Definitely check out Ghost of Yotei. Number 3 for me, these are kind of a pattern. I really do like these action RPG kind of playables. Number 3 for me was from the Obsidian Entertainment team as well, the guys who did Avowed earlier, but this was their follow-up to The Outer Worlds, which is their space version of their RPG. This has also kind of been spoken about as being similar to Fallout, but it is kind of interesting that, this team, Obsidian, did Fallout New Vegas, and now they have their own things. They have Avowed, which is their fantasy RPG, kind of playing in that Elder Scrolls arena. They also have The Outer Worlds, which is their more kind of sci-fi-y version of it, a little bit like Fallout, but still kind of surviving people. It's not post-apocalyptic, but it is a bit more similar to that in the shooting and style of it. But it's a great game. These guys are incredible developers. They make smaller games. These are not as massive, I would say, as the Skyrims and Fallouts, but they are still not small by any means. It feels silly to say that. You're still having hundreds of hours of gameplay in these RPGs. And so The Outer Worlds 2 took what was great about the first Outer Worlds and made it better in every single way. That's really all there is to it. It was a really, really good game to play. Highly recommend diving into this one. Really make your character your own. You can pick all these backgrounds and these class options as you go throughout, and you really want to lean into them and stick with them as you go, because it really, really tailors the story to how you choose to play. Love this game. Give The Outer Worlds 2 a try. One of my favorites of the year. Number 2 for me was a game that I did not think I was even going to bother buying or playing, but I couldn't help it. I had to snag Donkey Kong Bonanza. This is the follow-up to Mario Odyssey, Super Mario Odyssey. It's the same team that made that game, which was the Mario kind of platformer, most recent big-scale Mario game that they had, and this is the same team doing Donkey Kong, kind of the first Donkey Kong game we've had in a long time, where the worlds, kind of like you have in Odyssey, where you travel from world to world. Here you're going down in layers, basically trying to solve this mystery and figure out who this company called the Void Co is, and along the way you make a little friend and she'll come with you on your journey. It's awesome. The gameplay, some of the best gameplay that Nintendo has ever come up with. I genuinely mean that. It controls easily. You can jump, you can smash things in every direction. Basically everything you see is destructible, which is really, really crazy to get running on a Nintendo Switch. It does play on the Nintendo Switch 2, which is what I played it on, and it played so well. Like one of the most fun games I've played in a super long time. I had a blast just kind of destroying these levels, figuring out, stacking tons of gold, and ultimately just playing like a kid again, where you're really just doing what the game wants you to do. You're smashing through things, you're getting to the end, you're fighting bosses along the way that are pretty easy because Donkey Kong is obviously very, very strong. But this was just an incredible game to play this year, so I highly recommend checking this one out. If you have a Nintendo Switch 2, it might not be on Nintendo Switch 1. Actually, I don't remember. Maybe if I remember, I'll put it right here in the video. This game was incredible. My number 2 game of the year. Very, very good. Before we get to my number 1, I really quickly wanted to mention some of my honorable mentions for the year. Assassin's Creed Shadows. I played through this entire game. It's interesting that this came out in the same year as Ghost of Yotei, which was also a similar kind of samurai-inspired story. We've been waiting for Assassin's Creed to get to Japan for such a long time. They finally did it. This game had some people who were really angry about it for dumb reasons, and it had some people who were pretty angry about it, I think, for some good reasons. Some of the combat is a little fishy. Some of the mobility is a little bit floaty. Like, it did not feel as polished as other Assassin's Creed games did when they came out. I believe they fixed a lot of this by now. As far as I've heard, the movement is a little bit better. They've added things to it. Features that used to be there in other games, they've now brought back. You can really have some incredible options. There's more content in the game. It was very, very good. It was honestly way better than most people gave it credit for, I think, on the normal internet. If you just kind of watched around, you might have thought it was worse than it actually was. Very, very good Assassin's Creed game. Not exactly a return to Assassin's Creed like you might have wanted, where you feel like an assassin the whole time. These are very different characters. Naoe does play a bit more of an assassin than Yasuke, who's more of the samurai, but the game still is not exactly what you might be wanting if you're looking for a little bit of a return to old Assassin's Creed. It is still a massive open world RPG, but it was very fun. Next honorable mention was this game, 2 Point Museum. This is from the 2 Point Studios. They basically make these world sim games all the time. They have like University, Museum. I'm pretty sure they have some other ones coming out as well, but it's basically you run it. It's like The Sims, but you kind of just run a little top-down strategy game of running a museum. The other ones, you have different options. You can do the hospital, I think. You can do a university, and now you can do this museum. I love these games. They are just, I only play them for maybe 20 or 30 hours over the course of a few weeks, and then I never usually go back. But this game was really, really fun to play. Came out earlier this year. If you like these kind of sim strategy games, definitely try this one. Keeping with the pattern of just throwing Xbox all their flowers, another honorable mention for this year was Keeper. It was a game from Double Fine, the guys who made the Psychonauts game. But basically, you play as a lighthouse with a little creature as a friend. You're this sentient moving lighthouse. It is super fun. It's a little confusing. It's a little kind of frustrating at times to get through some of the gameplay and some of the movement, but it is honestly one of the most fun, like beautifully styled. Like, look at this. It looks incredible. It's a beautiful game to play. It's really thought-provoking and interesting with some of the puzzles and the way that they get you through this game. Very out of the ordinary. It is not your normal video game, but if you like weird games, if you like things where you get to figure stuff out as you go, really see some beautiful worlds, give Keeper a shot for sure. And my last honorable mention, I'm more sad that it didn't make the full list, and probably it should have been way higher. It's Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4, the remake that came out this last year. We didn't think we were going to get it because the studio that made the 1 and 2 remake got shut down, but luckily they decided to keep going. Hopefully they keep going with Underground and American Wasteland. I played all those games. I played the crap out of all those games. Hopefully we get more of those remakes. I highly doubt it, but I had so much fun with Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4. You know what this game is. This is the best version that you can play of these classic games right now. Definitely get this one on any console that you can, because this is like the most fun you'll have skateboarding this year for sure. And unless you've been living under a freaking rock this year, you know that mine and basically everybody else's game of the year for 2025 was Clair Obscur Expedition 33. one of the best video games that has come out in a long time, and quite a surprise hit. Not if you're me, I might be able to pull a video from a long time ago. I think like early last year, before this game had all the hype in the world.
Coming in at number 5 is Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This game just looks beautiful. The menu is incredible.
I was already hyped for it, and I was freaking right. This game is incredible. It's a turn-based game, so basically think old school Final Fantasy, Octopath Traveler, that style where you're picking a character, they do an action, someone else does an action, you move around in order and everything like that. It's a really weird game when it comes down to it, but it is definitely one of the best games that came out last year, if not the best game, because it was from a small studio. They didn't really put a ton of money into it. They didn't have to spend a ton of money, and they still did something really incredible with the storyline. It's got cool actors, great artwork. The combat is wild. Like, the screen looks insane. We should have a fight coming up here soon so you can kind of see what it looks like, but it's wild. It was one of the most beautiful games that came out last year for sure, and I loved it. The storyline, it unfolds basically over 3 acts. They're all insane. It's a little long. The combat is very difficult to get used to if you're not a turn-based person, but if you can make it past those things, I think that Clair Obscur is everything that you want to talk about when you think about the best game for an entire year. That was this game wholeheartedly. It was incredible. Well, that's it. Those are my top 10 games from last year with a few extra honorable mentions. Let me know down in the comments below, what games on my list did you love? Did you think do deserve to be on the top 10 list? What games don't deserve to be on the top 10 list? What were your favorite games of last year? Please let me know down in the comments below. So I've got some more videos coming out that might be a little slower this year as I kind of get back into having a new baby, where I've got a new job I'm working on here over in Australia. So videos might be slow. Streams are kind of coming when they do. I will have a new YouTube channel going up this year, hopefully. That's kind of just going to be a personal pet project for me throughout the year. So if you want to hear more about that, I guess check out the future videos or join my Discord. But thank you so much for watching. If anybody is watching this, I guarantee there's nobody that made it this far in the video. If you do, put the word cucumber down in the comments and I will send you a free gift or something, because that's insane if you actually made it all the way to this part of the video. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys in the next one.